Hey YouTube, Jeremy here with Simple Little Life, and today I just want to show you one of my favorite little backcountry pieces of kit. This is the Triad. It is a titanium alcohol stove made by a company called Vargo. I picked this up about 7 or 8 years ago and I've used it a lot, and I'm actually quite surprised how well it stands up. Ultra small. If you're into ultralight backpacking or weight is a concern, even for like an emergency bag, a bug out bag, it's nice to have options that are very lightweight. This thing weighs 28 grams. That is very, very light. I believe the capacity is about 52 milliliters of alcohol, and it burns for about 24 minutes. Definitely enough to get water heated up for a meal, if you have like a freeze-dried meal, or to make a cup of coffee or something like that. But let's just go ahead and set on the table and we'll take a little closer look at this. Okay, so how I typically will carry this is in this little Maxpedition case. Sorry, I don't know the exact spec of this case, but this is basically like my emergency cooking kit. On the outside, I have a ferrocerium rod. It's a generic one, but it works. And then just a piece of saw blade as a striker. Not the greatest ferro rod, but it works all right. And then inside here is where I actually keep the stove, and that sits right on top. Basically, this stove has little legs that fold out on the bottom, and on the top it's pretty much the exact same little piece of furniture that opens up like this, which gives you a surface to put whatever you're cooking. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you bring them in like this. They do tend to be somewhat unstable, but when they're locked out like this, they're fairly stable. You do need somewhat of a wide cup to use this though. And then in this kit I also keep a little bit of denatured alcohol. You can use methyl alcohol, a few other things. Also, just in this kit I keep a few emergency candles, some lint and matches, and the windscreen. Obviously, this isn't an ideal cooking setup if you're going to be on a multi-day trip. For ultra lightweight, this would work super well, but it's kind of a pain to set up every single time you want to cook. So if I were to go like on a actual trip somewhere for several days, I would probably opt for a different type of a stove. But for what this stove is designed to do, it works really well. Now, I know a lot of people actually make their own stoves out of pop cans, and that's a great option. And I guarantee those don't weigh much either. But I just decided to buy one of these at a recommendation from a friend, and I absolutely think it's fantastic. So once you've got your stove unpacked, you want a nice flat level surface for it, and then basically you just fill it up with your fuel, your denatured alcohol or methyl alcohol. And to do that, basically all you're going to do is pour it into this spout on top. Now, one thing I like with this particular unit is that I never worry about putting too much in, more fuel than I'll need, because once you extinguish the flames, you can actually pour all the fuel back into your fuel bottle, so you're not wasting a lot of it. So I get her nice and full, fill her up like that. Basically what I use for my fuel container is this. It's actually just a bottle for contact lens solution. It's a nice size. Fill it up. I can probably get about 4 or 5 heats, like to make coffee, out of this one. So now I've got it lit, and it'll kind of burn around the outside for a bit, and all of a sudden it'll start going, and I think it's once the whole unit heats up, it actually starts atomizing the gases out of the holes on the outside. So you'll kind of see, we'll have to wait for a couple minutes, but you'll see that happen. Right now it's basically just priming itself. It's not a good cooking heat yet, but it's just kind of getting ready. You'll notice it's starting to burn a little bit more intensely. You'll notice that getting stronger, and then you will see the outside start to flare up, go like they are right now, and you'll see that flame actually move to the outside. You see it's starting to flicker there. That means it's getting ready to start roaring out fire on the outside, and you can actually see the fire kicking in. And there it goes. Now we're burning through all those outside holes, and it's actually producing some decent amount of heat now. We'll see how long it takes to boil. 4 minutes and 30 seconds in, and we've got a boil. To extinguish it, simply blow it out. Let that cool down and you can go ahead and save the alcohol that's unburnt in there. So now what I do is, once that's cooled off, I'll go ahead and open up my container that I keep the fuel in. Obviously you want to make sure it's nice and cool. And with these supports here, I use those as a little bit of a spout to pour the fuel back in. There you can see we get all in there. Not the neatest way, but we just saved a lot of fuel that we can reuse later. Fold it up. They're ready to go. Alright guys, we'll have a quick look at the Triad alcohol stove made of titanium from Vargo. Like I said, a great option for cycling, ultralight backpacking, and even for an emergency bug out bag or a survival kit. The reason being is that, you know, when you've got a survival kit on, it's not necessarily the size that makes things difficult, it's the weight. You know, you could carry a large pack, but it's the weight that really makes it cumbersome to you. So with this, it's a lightweight option. I can heat up water, I can cook on it, I can purify water, and it's not going to tax me as far as the weight goes. Next to nothing. I'll put a link below where I purchased this. I got it from Mountain Equipment Co-op, and I believe they're about $32. Obviously quite expensive compared to making one out of a soda can yourself, but I do believe this would last a lot longer. I've put this in some pretty jammed bags before. My panniers for my bicycle, they were always very full, and I've dropped this thing, I've beat it up, I've jammed it places, and it's very strong, very well made, and it's held up very well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Cheers.